Saving the Appearances, A Study in Idolatry by Owen Barfield. Introduction. There may be times when what is most needed is not so much a new discovery or a new idea as a different slants. I mean a comparatively slight readjustment in our way of looking at the things and ideas on which attention is already fixed. Draw a rectangular glass box in perspective, not too precise perspective, for the receding lines must be kept parallel instead of converging, and look at it. It has a front and a back, a top and a bottom, but slide your hand across it in the required direction and look again. You may find that what you thought was the inside of the top has become its outside, while the outside of the front wall has changed to the inside of the back wall and vice versa. The visual readjustment was slight, but the effect on the drawing has been far from slight, for the box has not only turned inside out, but is also lying at a quite different angle. The book which follows has been written in the belief that it might be possible to slide a sort of hand across a good many of the things and ideas upon which the attention of Western humanity has become concentrated for the last 200 or 300 years, and upon which the attention of the East is rapidly becoming fixed in the same way. The helping hand which it has been sought to apply in this way is, simply, a sustained acceptance by the reader of the relation assumed by physical science to subsist between human consciousness on the one hand and, on the other, the familiar world of which that consciousness is aware. Physical science has for a long time stressed the enormous difference between what it investigates as the actual structure of the universe, including the Earth, and the phenomena, or appearances, which are represented by that structure to normal human consciousness. In tune with this, most philosophy, at all events since Kant's, has heavily emphasized the participation of man's own mind in the creation or evocation of these phenomena. The first 3 short chapters are largely devoted to reminding the reader of that difference and that participation. About this conception of the relation between man and nature, which is wholly undisputed outside academic philosophy and largely undisputed within it, 2 things are noticeable, though they do not appear as yet to have been very widely noticed. One is an omission and the other an assumption. In the first place, undisputed though it remains, it is, if we accept a certain school of genetic psychology, now very much out of fashion, always left out of account in our approach to any subject outside the sphere of physics. Such subjects, for example, as the history of the earth, the history of language, the history of thoughts. In the second place, it is invariably assumed that, whatever the truth may be about the psychological nexus between man and nature, it is an unchanging one and is the same now as it was when men first appeared on the earth. In this book, it is suggested that the assumption arose in the first place through clearly traceable historical causes, that the evidence is in favor of regarding it as illusory, and that its persistence, in spite of that evidence, is largely due to the omission. As to the omission, having established the gulf which yawns between the atomic physical structure of nature and the appearances of the familiar world, it is, of course, possible, and it is certainly usual, if we are physicists, to continue undisturbed with our investigations of the unappearing atomic structure, and, if we are philosophers, to leave it at that, being content with the metaphysical curiosity we have produced. It is usual, but it is not really necessary to do so. We could, if we choose, take it seriously. We could keep the gulf steady in sight, instead of instantly forgetting all about it again, and see what effect that has on our knowledge of other things, such as the evolution of nature and of man himself. Nor does this seem an unreasonable undertaking, since these are both matters, and the relationship between them is a matter, to which the participation mentioned 4 paragraphs back must be at least relevant. The greater part of this book consists, in fact, of a rudimentary attempt to remedy the omission. But this involves, as already indicated, challenging the assumption, and a good deal of attention has been devoted to that aspect also. The result, and really the substance of the book, is a sort of outline sketch, with 1 or 2 parts completed in greater detail for a history of human consciousness, particularly the consciousness of Western humanity during the last 3,000 years or so. Finally, the consequences which flow from abandoning the assumption are found to be very far-reaching, and the last 3 chapters are concerned theologically with the bearing of participation, viewed now as an historical process upon the origin, the predicament, and the destiny of man.